How many more videos you want me to make today? We already made it, but I can't wear the same shirt. They're gonna think I wear the same shirt every single day. Let me put a different shirt on. You guys, man, this is the last video I'm making today, though.
And this is your OnlyFans content.
OnlyFans. This would have been good. All right, now they won't know. In this video, I'm gonna show you how to buy any property for the price you want and get the owners to be happy as hell. Hi, my name's AbrahamGray and I'm an OnlyFans star. Wait, that's the wrong video. No, I'm AbrahamGray and I'm an entrepreneur and a real estate investor that owns thousands of properties all over the United States and hundreds of businesses. All right, so let's just get right into this video. This is a really cool video. So I've had a lot of people ask me my strategies of how I buy properties and how I'm able to get the sellers to sell them to me for exactly what I want and be super happy afterwards. I always research the house before I go there. I check out their house. I check out all the comps around. I check all the neighborhoods and see what houses have sold for. Comps are comparables of what has sold in the neighborhood that's very similar to their house. I look at homes that have the same bedroom bath count, same square footage, same lots, and then those are what comps are. And usually there's a bunch of other similar homes that sold, and I use those to show this new homeowner. I look for the houses that sold for the most, the least, the middle, and I usually make good notes so when I go there, I know which properties I want to show them ahead of time. I'm usually going to show them some of the ones that sold on the lower end, but kind of lower end middle. Next, I never, ever tell someone a price. I always make them give me the price. The reason why you shouldn't say a price, there's only two things that can happen when you give a price. Either you give a price that's too low and you totally insult the person and they basically start cursing you off, get the hell out of here, get the hell out of here, and you lose all trust and rapport and you have no shot at ever buying this property. The next thing that could happen is you give someone a price and they accept it. Well, you would think that's great. The problem is if they accept it, now you're like, oh man, how much less could I have got this property for? I probably gave up $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. Even if someone gives you a price and you know it's a price that you want to pay, you can never just accept that price and buy it for that. The reason why is if you accept that price, now they're going to question, well, how much more would that person have paid? Did I give them too low of a price? So no matter what, even if I would have paid $150,000 and the person gave me a price for $120,000, I know I'm going to buy it. However, what I do is I always bring up a couple things. I always say, you know what, man, you're right there where about where I want to pay. Can you, and I ask for a couple different things. Sometimes it's price, sometimes them to throw me something else in. So then I say, look, you got me for every penny that you could have got me for. This way, they don't come back later and renegotiate or try to renegotiate the price. A lot of times in the past, when I've agreed to the price that they told me right off the bat, a week later, they come back and they're like,
you know what? We thought about it and we want more money.
Every single time that I've tried to renegotiate, even though I know I would have paid it or try to add a few more details to it, the price always stuck. So if they give me a price, which most of the time they're usually going to give me some sort of price, we work with that price and figure out if that price is going to work or not. If they don't give me a price, then I go backwards. I figure out what I want to pay, I show them why I want to pay it, and then we get to the price that I want to pay using these techniques. So a lot of times they'll come up with a price that's ridiculous. They just want way too much. So what I'll do is I'll find a house that's very similar to theirs, that's very, very nice, and we'll use that price because that'll probably be the most expensive house that has sold. If that's what they want, fine, that's what we'll give them. Let's say they want $300,000 for this house, and maybe the most expensive house that is sold in the neighborhood sold for $300,000. So we'll use that comp. That's fine. So what I do is I go to them and I say, look, here are the pictures from that house that sold for $300,000. That's what you want, right?
Yes, that's what I want.
Well, look at this house. This house is in unbelievable condition. It looks really, really nice. Super renovated. Do you see these pictures?
Yeah, the house looks really, really nice.
All right, cool. Well, we can get you $300,000 for your house. We just got to get it to where it looks like this house. Wouldn't you agree? Since that home sold for $300,000 in this condition, to get yours for $300,000, they're like,
for sure, 100%, I agree.
All right, cool. Always get them to agree with everything you say. If they agree with you, at the end, you're going to get whatever you want. Okay, so now that they agreed with you, we're going to do a walkthrough of their house. So the next step I do is I go through every single room in their house. I go through the kitchen, the dining room, every bedroom, and I point out every single little thing I see bad in every room. Oh, look, there's a broken window here. Oh, there's a leak on the ceiling here. Do you need a new roof? Then I'll be, oh man, this floor sounds creaky. Is something wrong with the floor? Oh man, your carpet is ripped up. Oh man, there's some mold over here. Anyhow, I go through every single room and make sure I point out every little thing. Now, I know that they know that those things are bad because they live here, but they don't think I know. But because I'm pointing it out, now they know I know. And the best thing I love is when I go to a room and it smells really bad. And they probably know it smells pretty bad too because they've had friends that have told them that. So I go in there, I'm like, man, this room smells. And again, When I go to the end and I finally try to negotiate the exact price, I try to find the worst room in the house to negotiate in. So I look at the room that has the most mold, the one that smells the worst, has the most broken windows, the most broken whatever, and that's where I negotiate. So now let's get to the price. You want $300,000 for your house. This house that sold for $300,000 had all brand new stuff. Okay, cool. So wouldn't you agree that the kitchen in this house that sold for $300,000 is brand new and yours is a little bit outdated?
Yes, I agree.
All right, cool. So we're gonna have to get your kitchen up to 2022 standard. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. They asked me, well, how much is that gonna cost? I'm like, you know what? I've done a lot of kitchen remodels over the years, and they cost somewhere between 15 and 20,000 to get it to that level. What would you think? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I've got people that price it in the past. I've seen some friends tell me they renovated their kitchens. Yes, it costs around 20,000. But can you use 15,000 because, you know, you probably could get it a little bit cheaper than me?
All right, fine. So now I write down $15,000 for a kitchen. Now we go to the bathrooms. Look, this house that sold for 300 has very nice bathrooms, brand new, updated. Your bathrooms are outdated. We're gonna have to fix them. They're like, okay, they agree. So now we're like, how much is it gonna cost to do a bathroom? I'm like, all right, you have 2 bathrooms, typically costs around 5,000 to do a bathroom. Would you agree that it's about 5,000 to do a bathroom? They think about it, they're like,
Yeah, that makes sense. 5,000 to a bathroom.
all right, so how many bathrooms do you have?
I have 2.
Okay, we need to do them both. How much money are we gonna have to spend to fix the 2 bathrooms? Now they're gonna tell me 10,000. I love getting them to tell me how much money it's gonna be. All right, 10,000. Okay, I'm gonna take your word for it and I'm gonna write it down. So now I got $10,000 for a bathrooms. Next, your house, you know, it's been painted. It has some wallpaper. We probably need to change a lot of the rooms. Wouldn't you agree? Look at this other house. It's like all brand new, the nice colors, everything matches. There's no stains. Your house hasn't been painted in a while. It needs some updating. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes, I agree.
All right, well, how much do you think it's gonna cost to paint it? Well, I'm gonna say, look, typically it costs me around $3 a square foot to paint the inside of a house. How many square feet is your house?
Well, my house is 2,000 square feet.
Okay, 2,000 square feet. How much do you think it's gonna cost at $3 a square foot to paint your house?
$6,000.
Okay, they just told me it's gonna cost them $6,000 to paint their house. I write down $6,000. Now again, all these prices are what a normal person would have to pay. Now I get a better deal. So I wrote down $15,000 for the kitchen. I wrote down $10,000 for the 2 bathrooms. I wrote down $6,000 for the paint. Now that's what a normal person would pay. Now I get a good deal. I have my price already built in. It's only gonna cost me $10,000 to do the kitchen. It's gonna cost me $1,500 to do each bathroom, so $3,000. Now I'm already making money on every single little thing that I'm actually gonna do. So on top of the price that we're gonna get to, I'm actually making money on every single line item. So on the paint, they're paying $3 a square foot. It might cost me $1.50 a square foot. All right, next we go to the outside of the house. Look at this house that sold for $300,000. Man, their paint job on the outside, it looks unbelievable, phenomenal. Your house hasn't been painted on the outside. Okay, great.
How much does it cost to paint it outside of a house?
And then we come up with that price. I'm like, usually it's around $4 or $5 a square foot. How many square feet? Boom, we write that number down. The roof, look, in the one room that we went to, there's like some leaks on the ceiling. I think you might need a new roof. When's the last time you changed your roof?
Oh man, it's been like 20 years.
Okay, well, this house that sold for $300,000 has a brand new roof. They're like,
Yeah, I know. I need a new roof. How much does a new roof cost?
I'm like, you know, typically when I put a new roof on, it's around $10,000.
Okay, yeah, I actually did get a quote because I didn't know I needed to fix my roof. Yeah, I got quoted around that $10,000, right?
Okay, so now I write down $10,000 for a new roof. Now again, that roof might only cost me $6,000, $6,500 to fix, so I have another $3,500 built in for profit. Next, HVAC. I see you have a couple wall units in your house. You know, this other house that's over $300,000 has a brand new HVAC unit. Well, how much does it cost to put a new HVAC in? And then we'll go through that. It's another $6,500 and more and more. So we keep going through more and more stuff. We go through the water heater. We go through electrical outlets. We go through broken windows or old windows. We go through the landscaping. We go through different doors, siding, deck, plumbing, electrical, all kinds of miscellaneous stuff. And at the end of this conversation, we have a list of tons of money worth of stuff that they need to do to get to $300,000. So by the time we end up writing down every single thing that needs to be done, we come up to $100,000 just for repairs. So now I asked the seller, how much do you think is fair for me to make to do all this repairs to get this house sold? They're like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, I'm doing all this work. I'm not just doing it for free. I got to make something. So then they ask me,
Well, how much is fair?
so I tell them, look, so typically I tell them that someone that rehabs home or is a new home builder makes somewhere between 15 and 20%. On a $300,000 home, that's $45,000 to $60,000. I'm saying, so do you think that's fair? They're like,
Well, I know you got to make something. Man, I was hoping you wouldn't make that much. How about, can you lower it some? Maybe like 12 to 15%?
I say, I'll tell you what, I'll do it. I like you a lot. I really want to help you out. I'll do it for 10%, which is crazy. No one will do it for 10%. Let's just figure $30,000. Is that fair?
Oh man, I appreciate it so much. That's fair.
Okay, so now we're down $30,000. Next, we have realtor fees. So if you're selling your house for $300,000, the realtor fees are typically 6%, right? If you were to list your house, how much would you be paying your realtor?
Yeah, I know. It's 6%. The buying agent gets 3%. The selling agent gets 3%. Okay.
Well, how much is 6% of 300,000? Blah, 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 blah. 18,000 bucks, they tell me. They have it on their calculator. I'm all right, cool. Let's write down the $18,000. Next, we have holding costs, which is while I'm working on the house, we have utilities, we have taxes, we have insurance, and other miscellaneous things. I'm like, well, I need to get that holding cost back. Typically, it's somewhere between 1% and 2%. Let's just do 1% for you. Is that fine?
I appreciate it so much that you're doing that alone.
All right, that's another $3,000. Next, when I sell a home, what happens? Even though you're selling it for $300,000, the end buyer always wants some sort of concession. Concessions are something that they want some money toward their closing costs, or some money towards some different repairs that you didn't do that they're gonna have. So the seller's gonna have an inspector come and look at all the stuff in the house. The inspector always comes up with tons and tons of different things. Typically we agree and we go back, and the concession that I give them is some amount of money for some of the stuff that they need done. Typically the concession is another 1% or 2%. So like, all right, so what's fair on the seller concessions? And then. So on the seller concessions, it's another $5,000 because they're going to want us to repair certain things that the inspector gave them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that I know. I bought a house. I did the same thing to the person that when I bought a house. All right, cool.
So now I got $5,000 down for seller concessions. The next thing that we're going to talk about is negotiation. A lot of times the seller is going to want to negotiate some down. So typically on a home, on a really hot market, a nice house, now that your house is so nice because we just fixed it up, maybe they'll come down 1% or 2%. That's another $5,000 that they need to come down to feel like they got a good deal. I'm gonna give in because I know that I have that room. Now we're down another $5,000. That makes sense?
Yeah, that totally makes sense.
All right, cool. Well, on top of that, I'm borrowing money to spend all this money to fix your house up. I have to pay interest on all this money. I'm gonna have this money out for many, many months, typically 3, 4, 5 months, because besides fixing it up, then I'm gonna sell it, it's gonna be listed, then the buyer is gonna need a couple months to get their money situated to close. So now I have 3, 4, 5, 6 months worth of interest payment.
Okay, how much interest are you paying?
Well, typically I'm paying somewhere close to 1% a month in interest. Now we're at 3, 6, 9, 12, $15,000 for 5 months. They're like,
can you work with me here on that and maybe do it for 5 or 10,000?
Like, all right, you know what? We'll just call it $5,000. So now we're down to another $5,000. So now after we got everything written down, all the price deductions we got to make, we took $100,000 off for repairs, $30,000 off for the amount of money that I need to make to do this job, $18,000 for realtor fees, $3,000 for holding costs, $5,000 for seller concessions, $5,000 for some sort of negotiation that the seller is going to want off, and another $5,000 for interest that I have to pay while I'm doing all this rehab. We've taken off $166,000 in repairs and other costs. So from $300,000, if they're giving them full value of $300,000, I ask them, okay, look, I'm giving you full value $300,000. After we deduct everything that you just told me that we need to deduct to get it to where I can get $300,000, where are we at? They're like, $134,000. Okay, so you want $134,000 for your house now, right? They're like,
man, I guess now that I see that, can you, do you have any room? Maybe give me $140,000 for the house?
And him and I'm like, I'm giving you all the money you see, but maybe I could take $4,000 off my profit, lower it from $30,000 to $26,000. I'm doing a lot of work for it, but I really want to help you. I like you, so I'm gonna do it. And now we just got this house for $140,000. Now, again, when I first came here, I did a lot of research and I wrote down what I wanted to pay and everything else. And I could have paid $170,000 for this house. However, if I would have just came in there and told the person, look, I want to pay you $170,000 for this house, they're wanting $300,000, they would say, get the hell out of here, you're ripping me off. And I probably will never be able to talk to them because I just lost all trust and rapport with this person. But because I was able to go through their house, break it down, and show them exactly why and how we come to this price, I actually got this house for $30,000 less than I probably would have paid. Let's just say at the end, we came to $140,000, but they're like, you know what, I really need a little bit more. Now I have $30,000 worth of room to negotiate with them. Hopefully I get it at that 140, but if I don't, I have room and I'm pretty confident I'm gonna make a deal happen. Finally, now we're at the end of the video and there's no room for negotiating on this. You better like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Comment on other videos you want me to make, and I'll see you soon.